deck matchups a little bit more in the Gardevoir's favor, of course, with that ability preventing your opponent from using their basic Pokemon to place damage counters on your bench. A very, very strong Pokemon in this matchup.
And we see a Curlier prize from James, but just the one and one rare candy. And then we got a free energy prize from Benji. And we do have a Sableye prize. Often that's usually only played as a one-of. And yes, I've got Benji's deck list here. That is a one-of. That one Sableye being prized could be a problem. But we are off in our top 8 game, and we're starting off with James and a Battle VIP pass.
So already off to a good start here. Going to be able to get 2 basics down. And it seems like in stark contrast to James' earlier stream game, of course, we saw James getting, let's face it, a little bit destroyed by Owen in a sort of like 2-0 fashion. Just a very, very slow start. Not the case here at all.
Yeah, James's previous stream game against Owen Kammerman did not go well, to put it euphemistically. Here, we have Battle VIP pass for double routes.
Yes, we do. So, once again, going to take his time. It's always important to remember this. In the top 8 cut, it is not 50 minutes, it is 75 minutes. So you have a little bit more time to play through things a little bit slowly. You can maybe take your time checking prizes. You're not in as much of a rush. And actually, this is another very good point. We talked about how Gardevoir is, you know, a day 2 deck, not a top 8 deck. But if you made top 8, you're suddenly in a position where the time is much more in your favor.
Yeah, Gardevoir tends to be a slow deck. It can be really awkward if you lose game 1 as a Gardevoir player. Just literally trying to find time to win games 2 and 3 in a 50-minute best of 3 can be awkward. Give yourself 50% extra time, and that can make a very big difference. So James has checked his prizes. He's seen there's one Curlier prize, but nothing too terrible there. So now it's just a case of what else is in James' hand, how much can he establish his board moving for the next couple of turns.
Yeah, so done looking through the deck. Battle VIP pass is now fully resolved. 2 Rolts going down. Now, does James have any more Pokemon search? Obviously, 2 Rolts is great, but ideally you would like even more. But it looks like, it might just be like a Psychic Attachment and a pass, maybe? Not ideal, but I mean, you know, if that's the case.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Freya. Psychic Attachment and a pass. And we're over to Benji here. We got Comfey, which is the perfect starter, and Battle VIP pass, which is the perfect turn 1 card.
Yeah, you're going to loving that. So, sort of in a mirror reflection of James's start, finding Battle VIP pass. Going to grab a Giratina, of course, and I imagine probably going to grab a Radiant Greninja for 2-fold reasons. First of all, it helps you set up in the early turns. You discard energy, you draw cards, you're loving life. But then also, James was not able to get a Mana Fee down, and from what we can see, he wasn't, you know, gesturing the strongest hand. So Benjamin might be thinking, oh, hold on, there might be an opportunity for me to do a Moonlight Shuriken here if James' setup is like not strong enough to the point where he has to prioritize something else over Mana Fee.
And speaking of small Pokemon that protect the bench, correct me if I'm being silly here, Freya, I'm not seeing a Jirachi in James's list, which means that Sableye is potentially going to be able to run rampant, because obviously there's a lot of south damage done as you accelerate energy with Gardevoir. So having those Pokemon on low HP, and that's the other thing, you can soften them up with Sableye, and then that limits the amount of damage which can be accelerated with Gardevoir EX in the first place.
Goodness, and yeah, you're right, I'm looking here, like your cross-reference, there is no Jirachi in this list.
That is, I mean, Jirachi is there for Sableye. I know it gives protection against other stuff, Yoga Loop and all of that, I understand, but it's by far the biggest use is shutting off that Sableye. Without it, Sableye can have a very big impact.
Yeah, so that's going to be a huge, huge deal. And so Benjamin going to be going in now with that first flower selecting after resolving the Battle VIP pass. Does get rid of a Nest Ball and finds a switch card. Of course, you want to get your switching outs early. You can set up your Lost Zone with all those flower selectors in the early turns. So, yeah, switch card, flower selecting number 2. Let's see what Benjamin finds off this one.
We're looking for Chorus's Experiment.
There it is.
Nice. Because your Chorus Experiment,
there's 2 of them.
That's not what you're looking for. You don't want one in a Lost Zone. What you ideally want is Chorus's Experiment turn 1 and 2, and then that's just free flower selecting and Mirage Gate is on the board.
Yeah, absolutely, but unfortunately not an option there. So, I mean, at least he did guarantee himself a Chorus, right? I mean, that's the main thing. He is getting on turn 1, so going to be feeling pretty good about that, but looks like going to be getting rid of a Giratina and getting rid of a Water Energy. Now, that's could be a bit of a spot of bother. I mean, Benjamin does play free Water Energy, so the Moonlight Shuriken play is still, like, in play, but with 1 Water Energy in the Lost Zone makes it a little bit more awkward.
Well, there were a few energy prize.
Oh, there were as well, wasn't there?
Was there a Water Energy prize for Benjamin? Hopefully we can get confirmation on that, because that could actually turn off that Greninja play.
Yeah, it's, again, one of those things we didn't quite catch earlier where we were thinking, oh, the prizes don't matter that much, but now that there's a Water Energy in the Lost Zone, it very much does matter in terms of making that play available or not.
There were free energy prizes. I know one was a jet energy. We'll have to get confirmation on that in a moment. For now, we've got 2 Giratina, and we do have that Radiant Greninja. And if nothing else, it can draw some cards. Oh, it's not a Radiant Greninja. It's actually been swapped out for a Cramorant, which might mean that Benjamin has had a look and gone, I don't have the water energy.
Well, I've just had word through. It is a water and a psychic prize as well as the jet energy.
I thought there was one prize. So that means Greninja is not a valid attacker right now.
Yeah, so in that case, it makes complete sense to go for the Cramorant now. Is there a way that you can make the Cramorant KO a Ralts? Like, does Benjamin play Escape Rope?
Yep, there's one copy.
Okay, so if he can find that, he's going to be in a very, very good stead.
He's already Abyss Seeking.
Oh, never mind.
Sorry, we've already got Abyss Seeking going. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. 2 go to your hand, 2 go to the Lost Zone, and this will guarantee that Mirage Gate is on board next turn with just a single flower selecting, and Benjamin can start playing around. But honestly, with Giratina being an inefficient attacker against single prize Pokemon and not having enough water energy for Greninja, it might be the Cramorant Sableye show for a minute.
Yeah, it might be. Now, of course, I think we've mentioned this a couple of times before, but it's very important to sort of bear in mind that Abyss Seeking early on, you might think, oh, it's you're not attacking, you're not doing any damage, like where you're getting to. But as you've already very thoughtfully mentioned, Abyss Seeking is a really great attack, and especially against a deck like Gardevoir, where it doesn't really threaten a turn 2 attack that often. You feel completely safe doing this, and then your Lost Zone is so nicely set up for everything else. And
we did see an Avery come down there to force Benjamin to get rid of a Comfey, so that is now gone into the discard pile, putting down to 3 bench spaces remaining. Of course, one reason to build up the Lost Zone is to turn on your Sableye quickly. And actually, with Manaphy down, the Greninja play becomes irrelevant. But I think with 6 cards in the Lost Zone, if Benjamin doesn't know that James doesn't play Jirachi, he's going to figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think so. Meanwhile, oh, yes. So there we see the Mirage Step coming in from James. So, of course, that's the Curlier that you just get more Curliers out of the deck, put them straight onto the bench.
And, of course, with 1 Curlier prize, this is the maximum amount of Curlier that James can actually have in play here. So we've got a Ralts there that could be potentially rare candied into a Gardevoir, and 3 Curlier on the board. This is very, very nice. And Benjamin here, we see a Jet Energy onto a Comfey, wants to start taking KOs this turn.
Yeah, and he is in very much a good position to do that. A wonderful flower selecting, just getting rid of a Battle VIP pass, easy choice there. Has a Mirage Gate too, so he can start powering up one of these Giratina Vs, and then it's going to be a very easy retreat into a Cramorant, and then spit innocently, KO Curlier, and start taking prizes.
Or potentially use Shred with Giratina V to do 160.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Either will work, and the advantage to that is it's then kind of sitting in the active for when you need something bigger in the active. But there are a couple of attackers here. It would be nice to start dropping damage counters with Sableye, but realistically, there's not too much that's actually in range here. It'll be lots of awkward, get a KO with a few damage counters left over.
Yeah, I guess you could do something, like 7 on a Manaphy and then 5 on something else, but yeah, doesn't feel amazing. However, what does feel amazing, hitting a Colress's Experiment off a Pokegear.
Nice, and let's remember the Sableye is prize.
Oh, yeah, that is
so
true,
it's not going to be here for a turn. We're talking about if and when it comes out of the prizes.
Yes, of course.
Right now, it's Giratina and Cramorant. But yeah, Colress's Experiment, that's a good supporter.
Yeah, it is. So, top 5 of the deck. Let's see what Benjamin finds, what's going to go in the Lost Zone. Oh, there's the Escape Rope.
Nice.
But get rid of Comfey, not really needing as many of those anymore, and then get rid of the Counter Catcher, thinking, you know what, I'm likely going to go ahead. I don't think Counter Catcher is going to, play much of a factor in this matchup.
No, Benjamin looking to take the first couple of prizes here, of course. As we've seen, those single prize Gardevoir, they are very good at returning KOs, even on bigger Pokemon. We've seen it time and time again. So it's something to keep in mind here.
Yeah, so Path to the Peak coming down.
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting one because, generally speaking, and I'm interested to see if you agree with me, Path to the Peak is kind of a card you only really want to play later against Gardevoir. It doesn't really stop the Curliers, it stops the Gardevoir EX, of course, but more often than not, in the early turns, they can find the outs by drawing with Curliers to replace it.
You can, but you've got 3 in the deck.
Yeah.
So you've got enough space. And how many times have we seen Gardevoir just drop a random rare candy Gardevoir EX, then evolve a Gardevoir, and all of a sudden, lots of energy taking a return KO? That's what Benjamin's trying to stop here, make it as difficult as possible for James to get a return KO. Because if Benjamin can get 2 or 3 prizes with this Cramorant, that is going to make this a very, very different game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, of course. So makes sense to go for it and just, at least, like you said, force James to have the out to counter it, which actually, now that you mention it, I'm not sure if I see one in James's hand.
So we've got in James's deck, we've got one Artisan, one Collapsed Stadium, and one Lost Vacuum. Those are the 3 outs to Stadium removal that James actually has. So only 3 cards, and I know you're drawing a bunch with earlier.
Oh no, there is a Worker as well.
Oh, I always forget about Worker.
Yeah, but of course, there's been an Iona played this turn, so not relevant for this turn, but it is an option for later.
No, draw 3, discard a Stadium in play. I always forget about Worker. But we've seen it on stream a lot this weekend. Maybe it's something I need to start keeping in mind a little bit more.
I mean, Goldengo plays like 4 of it, right?
Yeah, Goldengo loves a Worker. So we do see a refinement here from Curlier after the INO. Just giving both players a new hand, but Benjamin is in a very good position here. It is up to James to work out of it, but of course, we do actually have the Gardevoir EX in play, so that path to the peak is looking like a good decision.
Yeah, and especially because I think James didn't draw the out, you know. Not from what I can see, at least, so yeah. Like Benjamin's actually, like, this path to the peak has effectively stopped James's attack this turn.
And that basically, if you stop James's attack, that guarantees a second KO with a Cramorant, which is exactly where you want to be going. You don't want to attack with Giratina until you have to, because they're big and they're super annoying to attack with, because it's either use your V-Star power or Lost Zone 2 energy.
Yeah, we do see the Ultra there discarding another Battle VIP pass that was just drawn off the Refinement, and a Zacian V, though, to grab that Shining Arcana Gardevoir, which, as we know, probably the most important attacker in the deck.
Yeah, we'll let you draw a couple of extra cards, of course, which could give you an out to the Stadium. And this is exactly what Benjamin is worried about. The combination of regular Gardevoir and Gardevoir EX building up a bunch of energy and then attacking. And this is where Sableye potentially comes in very handy if you have to use Gardevoir EX a bunch, but obviously Reversal Energy could work nicely.
Yes, it could. Fog Crystal finds another Ralts in the meantime, so again, we just want to make sure that you can chain those attackers. These Ralts are going to go down, the Curliers are going to go down, and very easily because this Cramorant is going to do 110 to each of them, so going to be a matter of making sure you can chain those attackers continuously. But now we see the evolution into the Shiny Arcana Gardevoir, and Shiny Arcana, what does James find?
He's going to find 2 cards. He really needs an out to Stadium removal. What have we got? Did not see. I think one was an INO. And I think one might have been a Ralts. I'm not seeing a Stadium out in the hand.
No, I didn't either. So, yeah, like Benjamin's pass to the peak really putting in a lot of work here. And as James just says, pass.
Oh, that is not what James wanted, but it's exactly what Benjamin wanted. That is going to lead to a second KO with a Cramorant, and then you can potentially... And that's something, you know, we saw with Goldengo earlier. Trying to gust up and KO a Gardevoir EX was a lot of work, lot less work for Giratina V-Star.
Yeah, you just spit innocently. Sorry, not very good. I'm Cramorant brained. I blame you, but yeah, no, it's... yeah, Giratina V-Star can absolutely take KOs easily, but so can Cramorants, and I'm just thinking ahead here on this turn that, you know, that's what you're going to do. You're going to just, you know, keep 10 KOs of Cramorant until you can't anymore, and then just load up that Giratina V-Star for later.
Yeah, the Giratina V-Star is being loaded up, and this is a luxury you have. When you've got someone like a Cramorant, which is already going to take the KO, you can spend your turn evolving, attaching energy, building up your other stuff, knowing that the KO is already on the board, and you don't need to worry about that now. Cramorant takes a second KO, and Benjamin takes a 2-prize lead.
Yeah, we did see that Benjamin did attach the Jet Energy, and then tried to attach a Water Energy, but of course you cannot attach 2 energy in a turn. Thankfully, spotted before anything bad happened, so just taking that energy attachment back. Retreating into the Cram, and Spit innocently takes the second prize of the game.
Yeah, that's always good, taking those prizes with Cramorant, and the more work you can do with Cramorant, generally speaking, the better. And then your opponent has to go and use all their resources to take out 110 HP Blue Bird. Now, we do have the Shining Arcana Gardevoir with an energy on here. Are we going to be... And I believe that was from the ability.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we see the tilted card there. That usually players would use that to indicate that they're using an ability. There's an Avery, just to draw 3 cards here. There's no, you know, Benjamin only has 3 Pokemon on the bench, so not going to be discarding anything. But if you need the cards, you need the cards.
And I can prove that's bad, because essentially that was just Nemona. And nobody, literally nobody, plays Nemona. So you do not want to be playing a supporter that's just a straight draw free. It is not an efficient use of your supporter, but that's where we are. And Benjamin's actually done a really good job here, keeping his bench low and going, I've got what I need. I know you're playing Avery. I'm not running into it. Oh,
we're going to a Collapsed Stadium coming into play. So going to be, of course, replacing that path to the peak. That is the out that James needed. And now it's going to be a lot of Shiny Arcanas, and we're going to see the classic move against the Lost Zone style decks. We're going to be seeing that Moonglow reverse from Cresselia.
Yeah, put a bunch of energy on, which puts a bunch of damage on. You move it over to the Comfey, and it gets KO'd. Now, you didn't see the damage be put down there, but essentially, because we knew it was going to be transferred onto the Comfey, they didn't actually place the dice, but there was 2 damage on each of those Pokemon. They get moved onto the Comfey with Cresselia. That's your KO.
Yeah, and of course, this is very relevant as well, damage-wise, because Cramorant Spit Innocently does 110 damage. Cresselia has 120 HP. That is 10 too much for Cramorant to knock out. We've seen this come up before in this very stream.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying, of course, when you're playing Sableye. There are opportunities to, for instance, you know, hit Cresselia for 110, and then Sableye KOs a Manaphy and a Cresselia, and there's a few other damage counters left over. I mean, we don't have the Sableye at the moment, but it's certainly something Benjamin's going to be looking for in the future, because when you're playing against Gardevoir, if the Gardevoir player is not careful, there's lots of damage just sitting around the field.
Yeah, there is. Now, a little bit unfortunate for Benjamin here. His hand is not great. If he had a boss's orders and a way to retreat this Cramorant, this would be the perfect turn to actually take a Star Requiem KO on the Gardevoir, because unlike the situations where you have, like, say, a Shining Arcana Gardevoir fully charged up to attack, the energy is all spread right now. So if you KO the Gardevoir EX here, you're not at that risk of just getting knocked out right back, and you force your opponents to actually work for a Gardevoir EX to be able to mount a response.
Would have been amazing, but did not have the cards, unfortunately. So we do see a Spit Innocently for 110. Again, the existence of Sableye means it's not as bad here as it would be in some matchups, but when you're not even getting a one-hit KO on Cresselia, it doesn't feel good.
No, it really doesn't. Another Shining Arcana. Don't think I found any energy that time, but this hand is just going to keep building and building, and Benjamin does not have a lot to work with right now.
Yeah, Gardevoir draws a lot of cards. We've talked to players like Torn in the past about Gardevoir and why they love it. And one of the answers we always get is, I draw so many more cards than my opponent, and just having more cards and more things to do is great. But it looks like we're actually seeing a Professor Turo coming down here.
Oh, wow.
Professor Turo scenario. Put one of your Pokemon in play into your hand, and that removes all of that damage and undoes the attack from Cramorant.
Yeah, Professor Turo scenario is one of these cards, tech cards that we've seen creep into Gardevoir, and it is absolutely phenomenal because, yeah, I've had it happen to me once before where, you know, you do so much damage to a Gardevoir EX and then it just pick it right up and you're just feeling very, very sad.
It's really annoying. This is the point I've made about Gardevoir on stream. Everything you do to Gardevoir, they always seem to have an answer. They have some way to make you pay for it or to reverse it. And actually, to add insult to injury here, it looks like that same Cresselia is going to come active and do this again.
Oh, that's you love to see it if you're James. You don't love to see it if you're Benjamin. I guess the one thing that is nice for Benjamin is that there's no KO happening in this turn. 8 damage is not enough to KO anything on Benjamin's side of the board. So I guess, yeah, just going to soften up that Giratina V.
Could have put free energy on the Cresselia and used Lunar Blast, which is annoying because Cresselia KOs Cramorant. Cramorant doesn't KO Cresselia.
Seems a bit unfair, really, doesn't it?
It is a bit unfair, frankly. But actually, 8 damage on the Giratina, bringing it down to 200 HP if it's a V-Star. That is probably a better use of it. It just brings it down to a much more manageable number.
Yeah. So, okay, if I'm looking at this right, I think what we're about to see here is, yeah, well, we saw the retreat. Is it going to be Shred to KO on this Cresselia? Yeah.
It is Shred to KO. Benjamin takes another prize, but you'll notice that James is once again showing what good Gardevoir players do. There's no damage on James's side of the board. There's a lot of energy, but James is using stuff like Cresselia to try and make sure that energy is being put down without all of these floating damage counters, which put you at risk of Sableye.
Yeah, and that's very, very smart heads-up play for James. It's exactly why, you know, these Gardevoir lists often opt to play Cresselia, because it is just such a good tool against Lost Zone variants in general.
Yeah, takes that little Pokemon, removes damage from your Pokemon. Generally pretty awesome. We see a level ball here. Could be for a Routes, could be for a Curlier. Depends what's in the deck. Or indeed, it could be for nothing.
Which ends up being the case.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let's just wind it back a little bit. Let's sort of take an overall evaluation of the state of the game. In spite of everything that we've just said, Benjamin is still in a decent position to win here. He is ahead 3 prizes to 5. Even if James takes a 2-prize knockout here, as long as Benjamin can take 2 more knockouts, he can win the game.
Absolutely, and the V-Star power has not been used, and I feel pretty confident it's not going to be used. Benjamin is going to keep that V-Star power for the KO on the only 2-prize Pokemon on the field, the Gardevoir. 2 energy on a Giratina, play a boss's orders or a counter catcher if you're behind on prizes, and just take that, which you're probably not going to be fair, take the KO on the Gardevoir as your final 2 prizes. That is where Benjamin wants to be.
It is, and it's very important to note as well, we've seen so often before that, Gardevoir players being very smart and like denying the 2 prize option by, using a Professor Tour scenario or a Collapse Stadium to get rid of them. But that's not an option right now. James has used both of those cards.
And actually plays a second Gardevoir, but of course Benjamin's on 3 prizes remaining. That's really just going, look, if you choose to KO the Gardevoir a turn earlier, I'm still going to have one ready to essentially finish off the game.
Yeah.
So, like what we're doing here, it doesn't matter having a second 2-prize Pokemon, but it gives you protection if Benjamin KOs it earlier.
Yeah, and this is what the best players do. They won't think about like a rule, which is obviously you only want one Gardevoir out, but maybe there's some instances where that rule don't apply. You have to evaluate the game state and make the right play based on that, and that's exactly what James has done here.
Now, we do have a Screamtail in the active. Screamtail, essentially, if you put 8 damage counters on it, it will hit for 160. But it hits for 160 anywhere. It will actually KO the active Giratina.
Oh, yes, it will as well.
Now that there's all that damage on there from before. So it looks like, and we don't need all 4. I believe we only need 3 energy. And that seems to be where we're going here. Screamtail KOing the active Giratina for 2 prizes.
Yeah, so very, very strong there from James. And Screamtail, one of these, again, new additions to Gardevoir. It seemed at first that people weren't 100% sure as to whether it would be included a lot, but, it is proved worth more than its weight in gold. And actually, James has opted to KO the Cramorant.
Which I love. I enjoy taking out the Cramorant here, because what was going to happen was Benjamin was going to Cramorant the Screamtail and then use the V-Star to take out the EX, and that was going to be the game. But you can still do a similar kind of thing here with Giratina, whereby you just use Shred to KO Screamtail, and then you've got your Giratina V-Star on the bench, and in theory, one of them should be available next turn to KO the Gardevoir, but instead, we are seeing an escape rope here.
Actually, worth mentioning, 6 damage on the Screamtail wouldn't have been enough to KO the Giratina. It's on 80 damage, so if you were to... Oh, there's the boss's orders!
There's the boss's orders onto the Gardevoir EX, and as predicted, that is when the V-Star power comes in, gets the automatic KO, and of course, that is why James played a second Gardevoir, but Benjamin is now down to 1 prize remaining with 2 Giratina on the field. One of them's going to take a KO. Benjamin is in a great position here.
This is not quite a full checkmate, but this is a near checkmate scenario. James is in a big spot of bother right now because the only thing that can survive a full hit from a Giratina is that Gardevoir EX, but that Gardevoir EX can't KO this Giratina V-Star. It only does 190 damage.
Yeah, this is very, very high-level play from Benjamin here. And just to finish your point, you're right, Screamtail would only have put Giratina up to 200.
Yeah.
Would have needed a 4th energy, which was possible. It was available to James, but wanted to go after that Cramorant. The problem was, I see why you take out the Cramorant, but there's still 2 Giratina there available to attack, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, you're trying to neaten up the prize map a little bit. You're trying to avoid that 7 prize game that we talk about so much, but in this instance, not paying off. Benjamin having the boss's orders to take the knockout on one of the Gardevoir EXs, and now in a very, very good position to win this game 1.
And there's not really a huge amount James can do. Everything is actually KO'd by Shred on the Giratina V. So you don't need the V-Star. You don't need any energy here. Both of those Giratina can KO anything but the V-Star. And I suppose you could maybe try and KO the bench Giratina V with Gardevoir EX.
It's your only move. It's pretty much your only move. You need to take a KO whilst promoting something that won't immediately get KO'd back. And exactly what you said is the only way to do it.
And then maybe you can work towards a giant KO on the V-Star next turn. It's not ideal, but you can't KO the active, and then the active is just going to hit for 280.
Wait, hold on. No, that's wrong. You have to accelerate energy with Psychic Embrace to power up the Gardevoir. If you accelerate energy to it and then power it up to do Miracle Force, it has enough damage on to be KO'd by Lost Impact.
Yeah. That's also an excellent point.
So you do this instead. Right, this makes sense. So 1 more energy on the Screamtail, you counter catcher to bring up the Radiant Greninja, KO the bench Giratina, and hope your opponent can't switch it.
Yep, that seems to be where we're going here. It's not an ideal situation by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a play. And look, you've actually potentially got the win next turn. There is a Shining Arcana Gardevoir with a lot of energy on the bench. So Benji, and he only needs 1 prize, and our Screamtail's got 10 HP remaining. Any attack from anything will do here.
But it's just a matter of making it happen, right? And right now, there's no switch outs in the deck. So Benjamin very cleverly, super odd, puts Benji back in. And I think it's just Avery is the only draw option.
Yeah, and all you need to do is draw... Yeah, it's 1 energy. Radiant Greninja has a retreat cost of 1. You draw a single energy or a Mirage Gate, and that will get an energy onto the Greninja, and then you can retreat, and then you announce the attack for the win.
Yeah.
This was a very low chance play from James, but it is a chance.
It is a chance, and so now it's going to be up to Benjamin. 3 cards off this Avery. Does he find the switching out? He's going to wait for James to shuffle the deck. Tension's building. There's Avery.
We need 3 cards. Mirage Gate will do it. Energy. It's an energy. We retreat. We KO with a Giratina. Benjamin wins game 1, and we go to game 2. I said it was a low odds chance from James, and it was. He did everything he could. He played to his outs, but Benji there is able to get the energy, get the KO, and go up 1-0 in our first top 8 match.
And honest to goodness, that was an absolutely fantastic game. We saw the back and forth. We saw the clever plays. Both of these players showing really why they are top tier and here in the top 8.
Yeah, it was really well played from both players. James played that game beautifully. We saw some really high-level plays, not leaving any damage counters stranded in the early game, using that counter catcher plus Screamtail in the late game. We saw the KOs taken at the right time with the right Pokemon on the right Pokemon. It was a very well-played game. But there's a reason why we've been saying Giratina's the best deck for a while. It can do stuff like that.
It can, and even, with Gardevoir becoming, one of the most played decks now, Giratina, it's showing there that even being like the old top dog, it can still beat the new top dog. It has like the plays to be able to get around Gardevoir, and especially knowing that, I mean, it didn't even factor in that game, but knowing that James doesn't play Jirachi, we can see Sableye putting in some work game 2 or game 3 as well.
We absolutely could. Sableye was prized for a large part of that game, so that took it off the table. But with no Jirachi, if we can get a Sableye out, that could be something to look for this game, potentially softening up some of those Pokemon, and even just dropping damage counters on something like a Screamtail so it can't accelerate much energy and take those big prizes.
Yeah, exactly. Now, both players are sort of setting up here, still a little bit, it's raring to go. There's still a decent amount of time left on the clock. That first game only took 25 minutes, which seems like a crazy, silly thing to say. But I mean, you do have time for more full games, and this is where Gardevoir is really going to shine, like we talked about at the beginning of the match.
Yeah, losing game 1. I mean, if this was if this was in Swiss, then we would actually have 23 minutes here, and the chance of James actually pulling off a match win would be almost 0. As it is, we've got 50 minutes or 48 minutes, and that means you're going to have a lot more time. And also, we have to have a winner. There will be no ties. Yes. We're in top 8, so you can get into game 3 and then start to play for the tiebreakers if we can't actually finish game 3.
Yeah, we can. I don't know why, I'm just feeling like so nervous, like watching these two. It feels like a very intense match, you know what I mean?
And I mean, we've got the presumptive best deck from a couple of weeks ago against the presumptive best deck from today. And the thing is, we saw that game could have gone either way.
Yeah,
that was not a very one-sided game by Giratina. Giratina had a very good start. James made a bit of a comeback, as Gardevoir tends to do, and then it just went Benjamin's way at the end. James kind of ran out of options a little bit, went for the desperation play, and it didn't work. Yeah. But with an extra turn, James could have won that pretty easily.
Yeah, and the key turn was just finding that boss's orders, right? It was the boss's orders KO on the Gardevoir EX from Benjamin, so that he just needed one more prize to win. It forced James into that really clever play, counter-catching the Greninja and using Screamtail to snipe around it. But ultimately, like you said, a very marginal play that it wasn't too difficult for Benjamin to find an out to it.
We see a Radiant Greninja prize for Benjamin and a Mirage Step Curlier prize for James. Gonna have to get the Curlier out the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, unfortunate, but I mean, better that than that plus a bunch of rolls, I guess, as well.
Which we have seen on the stream already today. So we start off with a level ball, and presumably for another Ralts here, because you do not want to pass over to a Lost Zone deck with a single Ralts in play, because Cramorant will eat that for lunch.
Yes, it really will, and that's the last thing you want to see. Looks like James is thinking about going for that Mew. I mean, if your hand isn't that great, if you have an energy in hand, you can just attach and use that Mysterious Tail, hopefully find a Battle VIP pass to set yourself up nicely. But if you go for the Mew already, it's you're not feeling good about that.
And it does open up the possibility of ending your turn with just a single Relts in play. And that's where something like a potential escape rope could come in. And I know there's only one in Benjamin's deck, but if you can find it, that would be absolutely huge. Hopefully, though, Mew is going to come through, get a Battle VIP pass, and let you get set up and rolling.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of seeing whether he can pull it off. But also, we need to also have a look at the rest of James's hand. It might be that there's more setup cards there, just ready to go anyway. But, oh no, it doesn't look like it, actually.
We see a retreat into a Mew, we see a mysterious tail, and we are hoping to see a Battle VIP pass very desperately here. There is one.
There it is.
Doesn't even look at the second half of the card.
Don't need to, right?
Yeah, that was the only thing if it was available, that was always going to be the choice. And so a slight risk there going for the Mew, paid off beautifully, because now you've got a Battle VIP pass with 2 routes down, and now you're playing with 3 routes and a Mew rather than 2. That's why it's why Mew is played, and why Mew is often played as a one-off, so you can do that.
Yeah, and it's sort of proving worth its weight in gold right there, in spite of it not being the gold Mew. But besides the point, James, I don't think there's anything else for James to do this turn, so I guess after this he's just going to be a pass it over. And now let's see, can Benjamin do just as good a setup? And now there's Chorus Experiment. That's a good start.
And what you're looking for here is double flower selecting, KO of a Cramorant. That's what we're going for. Now, there are a couple of Giratina pieces in there, plus an Energy, a Comfey, and a Jet Energy. Oh, putting a V-Star in the Lost Zone. You are playing a 3-2 line, but it does look like 1 and 2 Super Rod. So it's a Psychic Energy and a Giratina gone straight away.
That is not a great turn 1 Chorus Experiment by any means. These last selectors need to find Benjamin something now. Oh, is that a Roxanne and a Nest Ball?
Yes.
Oof. I mean, Roxanne's very important, so we need to keep that. But, I mean, you could also consider taking a Nest Ball, because then you could pull off the Cramorant play. But I guess maybe Benjamin just giving that up into thinking, you know what, I'm just acknowledging that this isn't going to happen. Oh, there's another Chorus and a Path to the Peak. There's one in hand already. And the Pokegear. Oof.
It's not ideal. I mean, if there was a Cramorant here, you got the KO.
Yeah.
You just retreat using Jet Energy. Cramorant takes a KO, job's a good 'em. But it doesn't look like we've got...
Oh, wait, the Cramorant's in hand.
Oh, it's actually in hand.
Okay, that explains it.
That makes a lot more sense. We had 2 Giratina and a Cramorant in hand, so now we can just retreat. We've seen lots of early Abyss Seeking from Giratina, but with 4 cards in the Lost Zone turn 1 and a KO on the board, this seems like a good shout.
Yeah, this turns the start into something much more formidable. Yeah, 4 in the Lost Zone, and even with that slightly awkward turn 1 Chorus Experiment, still in a very, very good position here, turn 1.
It's what we like to see. KO from Cramorant, 2 Giratina V down, 4 cards in the Lost Zone. And it means next turn, if you can get that Chorus's Experiment, 1 flower selecting, all of a sudden Mirage Gate is on the board. And Benjamin is getting set up really, really nicely at that point.
Yeah, he is. Now, James, meanwhile, fires back with an INO. Not really much else going on. Just needs to draw more cards, try and find some Curliers, and find another Battle VIP pass, which isn't great. But there's a lot of good setup cards there. We see a Fog Crystal, there's an Ultra Ball, and a Curlier just hard drawn as well.
What you're looking for, we've already got a Refinement Curlier there, so we're going to discard a card from my hand and draw 2. And obviously, it's going to be the Battle VIP pass. That is now a useless card. And it looks like we've gotten that Radiant Greninja we just drew.
Oh, yes, it is. So
and a Fog Crystal.
Yeah, so Fog Crystal can find an energy. That, of course, then enables the concealed cards. You can discard the Psychic Energy with that, draw 2, sets up your discard pile nicely. It's classic Gardevoir setup stuff.
Yeah, and James is having a very good start here, because you can draw more cards with concealed cards. Hopefully, you get another Curlier, maybe a couple more Curlier, draw a bunch more cards. You're probably not getting a big KO this turn. Be nice. But what you can do is go down, 2 prizes maximum before your Gardevoir start really hitting back.
Yeah, then that's going to be the important thing. Now, James did just draw the Manaphy. He's seeing that Benjamin hasn't benched a Radiant Greninja yet, so it comes down to that debate again. Do you give up the bench slot for it just in case, or do you take the risk and do you make the assumption that Benjamin can't access it right now?
It's an interesting question. I mean, we know Benjamin can't access it right now. We know it's in the prizes. James doesn't, so that's going to be, it's a little bit awkward knowing that that's an option. And knowing that you could lose 2 of that, and that's the thing, Benjamin's got 4 cards in the Lost Zone. You've got 2 good targets for Greninja. So it is potentially there if Benjamin finds the Greninja. So do you think Benjamin didn't have a searching card, didn't prioritize it, or doesn't have access to it.
Yeah, and that's like that's what you have to work out, right? That's the calculation you need to make. Does keep the Mana in hand for now, so discards a Psychic Energy off the Refinement, drawing 2 more. There's a Shiny Arcana Gardevoir. That's going to be good for next turn.
There is the Mana.
So there's the decision. You're just going to keep that in the hand just to be safe, and then just an attachment. No teleportation burst, interestingly enough, just a retreat into the Greninja and then pass.
Yeah. Leave your big thing in the active. And the biggest thing about Greninja right now, it can take a spit innocently. It does not get KO'd by a Cramorant. That's why it's in the active.
One of those bulkier single prize basics at 130 HP. So, yeah, out of range of spit instantly. Luckily for James. Now, back to Benjamin's side. Yeah, again, this hand is really not that great to work with. It looks like that Iona really put in a lot of work for James, as Benjamin's hand is like very unworkable. Look at that.
We've got a Mirage Gate, we've got Battle VIP Pass. Looks like just an attack with Cramorant, and that's it.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Now we do get a Path to the Peak in play, which will turn off Gardevoir EX, which is lovely.
That is true.
But that's it. That's like the entire turn.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we know that James is sitting on a very strong hand right now. Both Gardevoirs ready to go in hand, so you could do a Refinement first, and then evolve into a Shiny Arcana Gardevoir just to get even more energy going. So it's going to be, yeah, really, really, really strong.
Yeah, and we're just getting confirmation Benji's Greninja is prized. We said that a second ago.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah, so we're good. It is prized. We know that. It's not an option right now. But like we say, James got the Manaphy down because we know James doesn't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that was the whole discussion we were having, right? Is based on the knowledge that Benjamin could have it priced or not, do you bench it or not? Then yeah, that's the internal debate.
Now, we see an energy on the Greninja getting ready to potentially retreat it for something else. We do have the Brainwave Gardevoir on the bench there, but there's no way to accelerate energy to it. There's no Gardevoir EX in play at the moment, and even if there was, Path to the Peak is stopping it.
Yes, so, and again, James is in that situation where he needs to find the out to the path before he can really do anything else, and he has a lot of draw to do it, so every potential that he can, but it does need to happen.
Yeah, that's one of the things you're always searching for. Looks like we've got a Fog Crystal coming down. So that's going to get a Psychic Energy or a Psychic Pokemon. Basic Psychic Pokemon, of course. And, I mean, look, it's going to help you build up your border. It's going to help you build up your discard. Either way, it's quite nice. Sometimes we search out a Psychic Energy just to discard with Refinement, just so that Gardevoir EX can accelerate more energy in a turn or two.
Yeah, that's the really lovely synergy, right? And that's why, generally speaking, in the early turns, say if there's a choice of Refinement between a Psychic Energy and a Battle VIP Pass discard, even though the Battle VIP Pass is the more obvious discard fodder, you tend to go for the Psychic Energies first, because setting up the Psychic Energies in the discard pile is even more important than, if you're just fitting cards from your hand that might not be useful.
Absolutely it is. Now we do see a Cresselia being searched out from this Fog Crystal, it looks like, and there's a couple of very attractive targets on the bench. We've got a couple of Comfey there, and we know how much Cresselia likes going after Comfey, but of course there's no Gardevoir EX on the field, and now there is one on the field, but we still have Path to the Peak. So we play the Gardevoir EX, we play the Iono, and we hope we find an out to Path to the Peak. If there is, yay, we're going to get a KO on a Comfey.
I see an Artisan.
I see an Artisan.
I also see a Worker, but obviously that one you can't play because you just did the Iono. But there's an Artisan, so it's fine.
And a level ball, presumably for a Curlier here. So we got one more Refinement coming in. And we're back to that Gardevoir thing of drawing lots of cards, having lots of tricks, and going down only one prize before you start hitting back is great for James here.
Yeah. And here's the contrast between James doing this now and doing it in the first game. In the first game, Benjamin had taken a bunch of prizes with the Cramorant before this could even happen. In this instance, James is able to set up a Cresselia when Benjamin is on a weak hand, having only taken one prize, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's pretty gosh darn good. Now we do see the odds on coming down, getting rid of the Path to the Peak. Here comes the Cresselia into the active, and we know how this goes.
1, 2, 2, 2. Debating which one to attach to. Now, of course, you can already move 20 damage on the Greninja, so you don't quite need to put as many energy on to get the right damage on. But looks like, James is just going to do it anyway. So now you have 100 to work with to move across.
And again, the damage counters aren't being placed here, but we know what's going on. Now, 100 damage goes on to the Giratina, but essentially, rather than putting the damage on and then moving it to the Giratina, we just do it all in one smooth movement.
Yeah, so actually, it looks like the second Iono from James helped out Benjamin a lot. It did net him a Chorus's experiment, so Benjamin going to have a bit more resource-wise to work with this turn, try and find some kind of counterplay to make. I imagine that Giratina V should be an easy choice to go in the loss zone. They're already 2 out, but then What do you put for the second one in the Lost Zone out of these 4?
I mean, if there was an easy choice, it would have gone down already. It looks like we've got a Nest Ball coming down.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. There aren't really any other Pokemon you want to get out other than the Radiant Greninja, which, of course, is prized, so that's not an option as much as Benjamin would love it for it to be, if nothing else, just to get more draws with the concealed cards.
And we know there's always a risk of Avery coming down. There's 2 in James's list. We saw both of them played in the previous game, so, and a collapsed stadium as well. Your bench is really not safe if you're Benjamin. There are 3 different cards that can limit your bench that James could end up playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I believe, is Benjamin there just like using James's Artisan? I think that's what's happening here, right? Just with the deck search.
Yeah, just having a look through. You're not actually getting anything here, but you're just having a nice little look. And that's the thing, when you've got these stadiums that let you search your deck, we see this a lot from high-level players. You'll use your opponent's stadium, not because you actually want to, just purely because it lets you have a good gander at your deck.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, in this instance, you could use Artisan to grab a Comfey, for example.
You could.
Yeah. Not that Benjamin needs to here, but it's actually one of those decks where you actually could get the benefit from the Artisan.
You absolutely could, but there it was just your classic deck search.
Yes, so flower selecting, and it looks like, a little bit of a tough decision there. Benjamin having another look at his hand. What were the 2 cards in the flower selecting? Oh, is there a switch card and something else?
I only saw the switch card.
Oh, it's a Jet Energy, which I guess, do you already have one in hand, or you do? Well, you just attached one, right?
You've just attached one to the Comfey, so it would be taking it for next turn. What you really want is some switching options this turn. We're only actually a 7 in the Lost Zone, so being able to get more in the Lost Zone would be a bonus. It's not where we're going now, and we're doing it again.
Oh.
110 from the Cramorant onto the Cresselia. It wasn't a great play last game. I don't think it's really what Benjamin wanted to do this game either.
Maybe not, but okay. If Benjamin can get a Sableye down, is a free prize turn possible? Just thinking about it. I mean, even there's Cresselia healing to factor in as well, but 1 left, 3. I actually think even after the Cresselia healing, I think you can actually take 3 prizes in one go by KOing Manaphy, Greninja, and Cresselia.
Right now, that would, so you need 7 for Radiant Greninja. No, sorry, you need 4 for Radiant Greninja, 7 for Manaphy. That's 11 plus 1 for Cresselia.
Yes, okay, so yeah, after this Moonglow reverse, it wouldn't work.
No.
No, yeah.
If there's no Moonglow reverse, you could get a free prize turn with Sableye, but if we've spotted it, I'm willing to bet James has probably spotted it too.
Yeah, so.
Also, that Greninja is potentially in, sorry, the Giratina. It's only got 120 HP remaining, so if you've got damage on everything, you can actually KO the Giratina on the bench using Cresselia.
Not quite, because of course you can't Psychic Embrace to a water Pokemon, and there's a Manaphy on the bench.
You need some damage on the Manaphy, don't you?
Yeah, so going to be 20 short, unfortunately.
That's upsetting, quite frankly.
But I mean, it's still going to be a great play for James, to be fair.
Yeah, but it doesn't KO the Giratina. I wanted a big Giratina KO.
Well, I'm sorry, that's not what's on the menu right now, Ross.
Oh, man, I really wanted that to happen. Never mind. You can't win them all.
So, I was like, what did Giratina do to you?
I just like seeing fun plays, honestly. I just like seeing fun plays.
So it's not a personal Giratina vendetta then?
No. What we're actually going to see is a KO on the Comfey, because there's no point putting more damage on the Giratina.
No, absolutely. You don't need to soften up the other one. You have means of getting KOs on that one already, so just take a knockout on the Comfey, take a prize, and now back over to Benjamin. Working with a bit of a bigger hand there, but no follow-up Colress. Could just grab another Comfey off of this Artisan now that there's one knocked out, or he could grab that Sableye, of course.
And it's not quite the amazing turn it could have been. There won't be a free prize turn, but there could still absolutely be a 2 prize turn here. You can take out the Greninja and the Cresselia with some damage counters left over, I believe. So Cresselia is currently on 90, so you only need 3 damage counters to KO that. And the Greninja is on 70, so you need 6 to KO that. That would leave 3, I believe, left over. Is that the maths?
I think the math checks out, yeah. So then, actually, Joe, that's then perfect. Put 3 on the Gardevoir EX, now you can Lost Impact it for a KO.
That's perfect. Of course, we need 3 more cards in the Lost Zone to make that happen. 2 of them are going in here with the Colress's Experiment. We will need a Flower Selecting from Comfey as well, just to get up to 10 in the Lost Zone, because, of course, Sableye's Lost Mine only works when there are 10 cards in your Lost Zone.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, we did see Benjamin just Lost Zone a Jet Energy. I can only imagine he still has the switch outs regardless of getting rid of that, because otherwise that would have been a very easy way of getting the Comfey into the active and getting the last Flower Selecting for that 10th Lost Zone card.
Well, we do see a Mirage Gate. The first energy goes onto the Sableye, which telegraphs what we're going to do. There's also an energy onto the Comfey as a pivot option. So assuming Benjamin's got a switching card in hand, and if he's doing this, you've got to imagine he does.
Yeah, you have to think so, right?
Switch to Comfey, flower selecting, retreat to Sableye, double price turn.
Double price turn, and then I'm trying to think if there's anything else you'd put it on other than Gardevoir EX, but that seems like the easiest choice, right? Just to make it so that you can Lost Impact one Gardevoir EX and then Star Requiem another one.
Potentially, but then are there going to be 2 Gardevoir EX to do that to? That's what always worries me.
Maybe you just at least force it, because if you put the Gardevoir EX in range, maybe James thinks, okay, I want to get rid of this early with a Collapse Stadium or a Turo, but then you're going to need to put the Gardevoir back down to attach more energy, because your energy is so spread out right now. You can't really, you don't have that much of a workable board without it.
Yeah, and we did see, I believe that was that the only escape rope just played then?
Oh, possibly, right, yes, it was an escape rope. I guess, I mean, if you're attacking with Sableye, it is fine. You know, you don't really care what's in the active when you're attacking with Sableye.
No.
But potentially removing an option for an escape rope play later if that becomes relevant.
Now remember, you don't have to KO the Greninja and the Cresselia. You could KO something like the Manaphy and one of the others as well. It really depends where you want to go here. There's actually a lot of options.
Yeah, there are.
Getting rid of the Curlia to stop a new Gardevoir coming down could be big. The Cresselia's obviously been a nuisance. I like taking those 2 prizes. So where do the other 3 damage counters? Oh no, it is the Cresselia going down, which I actually really like here.
Yeah, so what James did was 1 more on the Greninja, 3 on the Cresselia's KO, and 8 on the Curlia's KO. This is actually a better 2-price turn, to be honest, the more I think about it, because you leave that Greninja there ready for later, but then you take out 2 prizes while still taking out something that's much more impactful to be able to help James do a counterplay against you.
And you've taken 2 draws a turn off the board because that Curlia's not there anymore. And also, if James, if you KO the EX, well, and now James is going to really struggle to get another one into play.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a potentially very good prize map here, because you can, if you just get the Sableye back, you can Lost Mine again. You do 7 and 4, and you can KO the Manaphy and the Greninja, and then you're just 1 prize away from winning the game again.
So you put a Giratina up and say, I don't care what's active, Star Requiem, I win the game.
Yes. So.
But now James has just gotten a Cresselia back. We saw a combination of Super Rod and Artisan. And actually, sneakily here, James might want to try and get rid of his own Artisan because, of course, Benji does play 2 Super Rod in his deck. And there is a strong argument that actually Benjamin can just do that, Super Rod and Artisan, and then get the Sableye right back if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's an Iron as well coming from James. That's going to be very timely. Just cut Benjamin's options down once again by putting to only 3 cards in hand. Do we expect James to go for the Cresselia again then?
Looks like we're going to be attacking with a Gardevoir EX. That's what James seems to be setting up for here. There's a lot of energy on it, and it's in the active.
There's a potential risk here, right, though, because if you're attacking with the Gardevoir EX, I mean, I guess you did literally just Roxanne Benjamin, so maybe this is just fine, but if Benjamin can find a Psychic Energy and a Giratina V-Star, there's a return KO. Yeah, I was going to say, I think you just have to retreat here and attack with the Cresselia.
Okay, that's good. So I was going to say, leaving that in the active, all you need is an Energy V-Star, and that would have been enough here. So it looks like we're going to be getting some Cresselia action going on. And of course, the more you do this, the more you take away the damage. We just saw what I've been talking about since the beginning of this match. Leaving that damage around so Sableye can take advantage. The more you can get off the board, the less Sableye can do that.
Yeah, and this is a very, very effective way to do this because you're taking the Sableye off the board, you are taking the KO, and you're also removing damage from that Radiant Greninja, so now you're a lot less flexible with the kind of multi-price turns you can take.
Now, the hand looks to be Avery, Battle VIP Pass. We've got a Counter Catcher. And maybe a Boss's Orders?
No, I think that's a Super Rod at the end of the hand, actually.
I'm looking at
looking around. Right, yeah. So
we've got a Mirage Gate, Battle VIP Pass, Super Rod, and an Avery, I think. It's not amazing.
No. So, anyway, Super Rod. James did not find a replacement for the Artisan, so one thing going well for Benjamin, he will be able to use that Super Rod to get the Sableye back, and as we just mentioned, use that Artisan to put it straight back onto the field. So at the very least, he can go for a Lost Mine this turn. He can Mirage Gate, just attach to the Comfey, attach to the Sableye, and Lost Mine again.
The annoying thing is, though, because of that healing, that Greninja's now got 70 HP remaining, as does Ralts, as does Manaphy. So there's no two-prize turn here.
No. Bearing this in mind, would it make more sense to go for the Lost Mine onto the Manaphy to, if you maybe rip the Radiant Greninja off the prizes, go for a Moonlight Shuriken for the win? Maybe. I don't know if it's a lot to pull off or a lot to ask for. Might be.
And yeah, I mean, the Greninja next turn will still be in range, even if a Cresselia is used, so that is absolutely possible. I mean, the easier prize map here, as we see in Avery played, is just KO summing with Sableye, and then Giratina onto the EX.
Yeah. So, again, and now the Manaphy's just gone, so yeah, after that Avery, the Greninja getting removed and the Manaphy getting removed. So what does Benjamin do now? Oh, there's a Roxanne ready for next turn. That's going to be absolutely crucial, I think.
So we Mirage Gate, one onto the Comfey, one onto the bench Sableye, and then you go over, I'm assuming here you go after the routes.
Yeah, I would assume so, especially given that your other most viable targets are gone. You just go for the routes here, or maybe you don't? So Benjamin just Mirage Gated on a Water onto the Comfey and a Grass onto the other Giratina V.
Did he have a Psychic available?
I mean, you must think so, right? Otherwise, there's no reason you do this.
Oh, he just used Super Rod. Actually, worth pointing out, Benjamin did top deck a Roxanne a second ago. Oh, there's a Psychic Energy in hand.
Yeah, it had to, right? There's no way.
So...
Oh, there is a Path to the Peak in hand as well. So this is interesting.
I mean, you kind of want James to take a KO next turn. So then you activate Roxanne, and then you get a new hand of 6, and it's just Giratina, Psychic Energy, Giratina V-Star, Psychic Energy, and then you can... Oh, but then there's not going to be the EX in the active. You kind of want a Roxanne this turn, honestly.
Yeah, but of course... You
can't.
No, you can't.
But you want to.
So, looks like it's going to be Lost Mine all on the Cresselia. The Cresselia is too annoying. Benjamin's like, you know what? Lost Mine all in the active. I want it gone.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. The Routes isn't doing very much right now. You needed a prize. You got a prize. So, your counter catcher is not going to be on board here. I mean, in theory, what you really want to do is just gust up the EX here. Giratina, boom, win, job's a good one.
Yeah. And that's actually probably why Benjamin went for that Mirage Gate play. There's now a Grass on each of the Giratina Vs, so even if James can KO one of the boss's orders, there'll be another one that can evolve, attach Psychic Energy, and win that way.
But we need now, the EX is again in the active, and it has again got a bunch of energy on, but there is also the Brainwave, the Shining Arcana Gardevoir on the bench. You've got to imagine that's going to be the better attacker here.
Yeah, you got to think so, right? You don't want to give Benjamin an easy out to take the 2 prizes to win. You want to attack for a single prizer.
You absolutely do. Right now, the EX is the one that's in the active, and obviously it's got an easy KO on the Sableye. We need one more energy to do so, but that shouldn't be particularly difficult given its own ability. And that Routes that was ignored has turned into a Curlia.
Yeah, and this was a potential problem, right? The Cresselia is an annoying attacker against you, so it makes sense that you want to KO it, but now James has access to a couple more draws, and if James can find an Iono, Benjamin's going to be feeling really, really sad.
And James does play the full 4 copies of Iono, so that is something that is going to be pretty easily found. We do see Refinement here, presumably dropping a Battle VIP pass.
You would guess so. Yep, there it is. Does James find the Iono here? Wait, was there one in hand already?
Reversal Energy and something.
I
think it was an Avery.
Yeah, I think it was an Avery, you're right. So, yeah, not quite there. I mean, you could play Avery, but, I mean, it doesn't really get you very far. I guess Benjamin just discard probably the Cramorant at this point, right? You don't really need it anymore.
Quite possibly. I mean, the other thing is, Benjamin's only got 2 prizes remaining. James has got 4.
Yeah.
If James doesn't take a 2-prize knockout this turn, Benjamin is going to have 2 prizes, 2 turns to take 2 prizes.
Yeah.
So that kind of really takes the pressure off having to try and KO the EX.
So I guess then here, James really needs to find some kind of gusting out. I don't know if there was a boss's orders in hand. I don't recall seeing one.
I mean, Screamtail would do it.
Oh, yeah, that is very true. If you can just charge up a Screamtail. Oh, and speak of which, right there, the James is getting it from the Super Rod.
Screamtail is what I'm going for here. Screamtail can hit a pretty easy 160 to the bench. That'll put the Giratina V up to 260. It's only got 220 because it's a V, not the V-Star. James really needs to get a 2-prize KO this turn to give him a win option, a win condition next turn.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Benjamin has 2 turns to take 2 prizes, and that's way too easy.
Yeah, it really is. Super Rod then going to shuffle back in just the Radiant Greninja and the Screamtail, and then Arton, of course, just going to grab that Screamtail straight away. There's not many cards left in the deck.
And one reason we might see Gardevoir EX in the active here is because you can retreat it, and that puts 2 more energy in the discard pile to then potentially accelerate onto something like a Screamtail.
That is a very good point. I think you do have enough regardless, but even so, you can accelerate it onto a Gardevoir and then charge it up to KO a 2 prize later on. So yeah, makes complete sense.
One of the themes we see in Gardevoir is when you attack with Cresselia, you end up spreading the damage around. You don't really want it spread around in the late game, so trying to get it back in the discard can help. Now, we do see a reversal energy coming on here onto the single prize Gardevoir.
Oh, are we going to see the Tourist scenario play? Are we going to pick up this 2 prizer? No, pick up the Curlier. Okay. Is this interesting?
Picks up the Curlier, goes for the Screamtail. Just taking an easy prize off the board for something. I think he's trying to... No, actually, this is really good, because otherwise a Sableye would win the game.
Oh, right.
Sableye would KO the Curlier and the Screamtail at the same time.
Oh, right,
and that would be bad.
Yes, of course, yes. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You have to put damage on the Screamtail to take the KO. So, yeah, that was actually very, very important to do. Yeah,
getting rid of that Curlier before we even could point out about the Turo play. That was very, very well done. It takes Sableye off as a win condition. Now, there's a 3-card combo here that wins a game. It is Energy or Mirage Gate, Giratina V-Star, Boss's Orders.
That's it. Those are the 3 cards that win, but I don't think Benjamin has access to any of them right now, so it's going to be a matter of trying to dig with these Flashlet things from these Comfeys, maybe finding another Chorus Experiment. I'm actually not sure if there's any left in the hand. Oh, see, there's 1 in the deck, but I think that is the last Chorus that Benjamin has access to.
There's also a very strong argument here that if you cannot get the EX, you do not take a prize. And the reason is extremely simple. If you take a prize, you turn on reversal energy, which means that Gardevoir's already got 7 energy.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. The Chorus Experiment is relevant for digging because, you know, if you played Chorus Experiment, you can't boss. So
you cannot.
No, so I think maybe this is a turn where Benjamin has a switch cart. Switch cart Roxanne, maybe?
I mean, you definitely want to end up playing a Roxanne if you don't have a Boss's Orders.
I mean, you do have Boss's Orders, but you don't have the other bits. That's the problem. The Boss is in hand, but there's no Giratina V-Star and there's no Psychic Energy.
Yeah, so there goes the Roxanne, and that basically says Benjamin will not be winning this turn. Now, what we could see is a bunch of damage spread around from the Sableye, but the problem is there's nothing really in range here. Well, I suppose what you can do is KO the Screamtail and then leave a bunch of damage on Greninja or Gardevoir, which would then give you a Sableye out to win in the game next turn. But you wouldn't even need that because you win with Giratina. So I think it's Roxanne. It's so awkward, right? If you take a prize, you give yourself a really easy route to win next turn. But if you take a prize, you turn on reversal energy, which gives James a really easy win with with Boss's Orders.
Yeah, so I guess it's a matter of, do you trust that the Roxanne is stuck enough to deny James the out to win? And
you do have Path to the Peak, which in theory means that James will not be able to replace that reversal energy just using Gardevoir's ability.
Yes, so the very, very tough decision here. Again, it's coming down to the wire. These micro decisions are going to determine whether we finish this game 2 or go into a game 3. There's a Boss's Orders from the Pokegear. There's a Psychic Energy in hand. Do you just commit this now to the Giratina? Or do you... Oh, yeah, you see, Benjamin's really agonizing over this. He knows how important this sequence of decisions is.
I mean, yeah, why not? Unless you really need it as a pivot.
Well, I guess that's kind of what Benjamin's worried about because... No, okay, he does commit it to the Giratina V, so...
If the Giratina gets KO'd, you lose the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So whack it on there and then pass. Yeah, and I kind of like this.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, with the path, there's so much more like denial of outs to win that you do by taking this route.
And it's, you know, it basically means you're not going to be winning with Sableye next turn, but it also means that reversal energy is not on, and James now needs a Boss's Orders, and I'm going to have to do some maths now, aren't I?
Oh, no, not maths.
I know, I don't really want to, truth be told, Freya, but, so what we kind of need here is 8 energy. Yeah, 7 energy would do 270. You need 8 energy on the Gardevoir. Now, if reversal energy was turned on, you can manually attach Path to the Peak is irrelevant. With reversal energy not turned on because Benjamin didn't take a prize, that means you need 4 energy with Path in play.
I mean, this is assuming that the Giratina V does get evolved, of course. Right now, it's just a regular V. It's not a V-Star, so that needs a lot less energy for the KO.
Okay, fine. That's a fair point. I keep assuming it's just going to get V-Star, but it hasn't been V-Star yet. So that would need 6 energy.
Yeah.
6 energy would be 240. Yeah. So 6 is what you need. Now remember, with the reversal energy turned off, it is a colorless energy, and Gardevoir only adds damage with psychic energy. So we actually just saw Screamtail attacking there. So this is it. This is a turn. If Benjamin doesn't win this turn, James will win next turn.
So it's all down to these last selectings. 1, 2. What does Benjamin find? Let's get rid of the Spiritomb. Yeah, that's an easy one. There's a Mirage Gate. There's a boss's orders. He's so close.
We need the V-Star.
He's so close.
We need the V-Star here. That's really important.
How many are left in the deck even? There's one in the discard and one lost. There's one left in deck.
There's 2 left in deck.
Wait, 2 left in deck? Oh.
2 left in deck.
Wait, but wasn't there one in the lost zone earlier?
There's 2 in deck. We can see them both in deck.
No,
there is one in the lost zone. There is one in the lost zone. It was lost zone very early in the game.
It's the Giratina V in the discard. That was that mixed up. Okay.
So there are 2 in the deck, and at this point, Benjamin's got to be thinking, like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to draw a Giratina V-Star? It's been long enough. I've drawn enough cards. Where's my V-Star?
Does Benjamin have a switch out as well? Because obviously he needs to find a Giratina V-Star for flower selecting, but if he retreats into this other Comfey, I don't know if he has a way to get the Giratina V-Star into the active. I think that's the problem.
We've got Super Rod. We've got Comfey. I'm not seeing a switch out in his hand.
I think Benjamin's recognizing that he might have been just like a little bit short there. I think he needed to find the out off of that first flower selecting. He might need to take an alternative route now, and I don't know what that alternative route looks like.
Well, we've retreated into a flower selecting first of all, but we're going to need a switch out. Now, obviously, you hit the V-Star here. That's a given.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't have the switch out, you're obviously going to hit the V-Star. So now Benjamin has the V-Star, has the energy, has the boss's orders, but I don't know, do we have a switch out? I mean, the fact that Benjamin isn't throwing it down on the table makes us think he doesn't have it. The good news is it is out of range of Screamtail right now.
It is, but all you need to do is Psychic Embrace one more time, and then you're doing 160. That'll do it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there is that.
Just a small detail.
I mean, so we see a Roxanne. I honestly don't think this oh, there is. Now, I mean, there's Path to the Peak in play, so right now you can't actually do that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good point, yeah. So the Roxanne's going to be very important to make sure that James doesn't have the means of getting extra 20 damage on. So it has to come down to this, right? It's Roxanne, hope your opponent misses the out to the Path to the Peak.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
That really is it. James, I mean, look, you V-starred, you are out of range for now. The Path to the Peak is in place, so you cannot up the damage. It's over to James. He does not need much.
Oh, he just rose off the top of the deck!
He replaces the Path to the Peak, puts an energy on with Gardevoir's ability, KOs the bench Giratina V-Star, and we are going to game 3.
Collapse Stadium off the top to counter the Path and to attach the extra energy of the Psychic Embrace to do 160 with Screamtail. Wow, again, what an ending.
This has been a very back and forth game with lots of little plays, but here's the thing, now the clock is coming into it. We've got about 13 minutes remaining, and we've had 2 games that have taken longer than 13 minutes.
Yes, that is going to be a bit of a problem, I think, especially if both decks, set up as we expect them to do. I guess then in this situation, Ross, I'll put the question to you. Who do you think is favored?
I mean, I'm kind of loving Benjamin. Benjamin has been on the front foot in these games. You've got Cramorant for the early game pressure, and you've always got the opportunity to be like, Giratina, 2 prizes. Yay, I win!
Yeah, I would agree with you as well. I think, we've called Gardevoir the comeback deck before. Giratina can be a bit of a comeback deck as well because it does play the counter catcher. But out of the 2, to me, there's no question which one has the easier time putting out early aggression. Yeah,
there's a reason why players who are playing Gardevoir sometimes struggle in Swiss a little bit, because if you do lose those games, it can be hard to find the time to finish. Now, question for you, how do you feel about tiebreakers in a best-of-3 SOP Cup?
How do I feel about them in what sort of sense? Like, do I like them? Like,
how confident are you that you know the tiebreakers to determine the winner?
Okay, yeah, this I do know. So, we're in a game 3 scenario, so that makes things a little bit easier. So, the way it works in game 3 is very simple. Time is called. There's 3 extra turns. Whoever is ahead on prize, whoever has taken the most prizes wins. If they're equal on prizes, next prize wins.
Yep, absolutely.
Nailed it.
So we start off, we got Benjamin there looking to be starting off first. It looks like with a Giratina in the active. Wait, was that a turn or was that letting James go first?
I'm actually not. Wait.
There was a gesture from Benji there. A gesture like, it's your turn. So was that a turn, or was that a you get to go first?
I'm not sure. That's like, yeah, there was a bit of a fast gesture there. We kind of missed it a little bit.
Well, Benji gestured after not playing any cards.
But did he? Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
Benji
there it
did.
is.
So it wasn't a you can go first. That was my turn. It's your go. That was what I was afraid of. That's not a good turn one.
No, it's not. I guess maybe saving grace is there. Okay, there is a chorus experiment. Okay, we can see the hand now. Yeah, that hand is really not that great. There is a chorus experiment, so that's really going to have to bail Benjamin out next turn.
Yeah, that was. I saw the gesturing, and I'm like, tell me that was not Benjamin going, it's your turn, I've had my entire turn. I was kind of worried it was, and it turns out it was. So now, I mean, James is essentially going first in this game.
Yeah, pretty much, and that is not a position you want to be in at all.
But that's not a good start either. 2 routes and nothing else.
No, that's true. So,
you know what time it might be?
Greninja time?
Cramorant time.
Okay, yeah, sorry, yes, Cramorant time first, but yes.
7 cards in a lost zone with Greninja there. That would be a feat.
That is not a nice chorus experiment. At least you have like another one for next turn, but that's a lot of energy that you want in the deck, not really in the lost zone or in the hand.
If you're lost zoning if you pass without doing anything, and then on turn 2, Chorus's experiment put 2 basic energy in the lost zone, and still don't do anything else, that is bad. And frankly, Benjamin has been a bit bailed out here by the fact that there's an Artisan on the field, and even a single basic energy would mean Benjamin could have Biz Seeking here.
Yeah, so, and we know that there's energy in hand as well, so that's completely fine. So it's an interesting debate, because I'm actually not sure what the switch outs Benjamin has in hand. Because if you have, a switch out, you can bench the Comfey, switch into it, flower selecting, jet energy back into the Giratina and Abyss Seeking. That's a really solid turn too.
That will be all right. I think we need to see some Abyss Seeking pretty soon. That's one of the things that Giratina has that bails you out so nicely. A colorless energy attack, single colorless energy, that lets you build up your lost zone while essentially not just drawing 2 cards, but picking 2 of your top 4 cards.
Yeah, and that is, it is one of, I dare say, I think it's one of the most underrated aspects of the Giratina deck is access to this Abyss Seeking. And like we already mentioned, especially against a deck like James's, which tends to start slower, especially when it has an even slower start than usual, like this, you're feeling pretty good about it.
I mean, we're talking about which of these 2 decks can race to prizes faster. Neither of them. Literally neither of them.
Yeah, there's a flower select, and we do see a jet energy pickup there, as well as what looks like a Mirage Gate. But there is a Mirage Gate in hand already, so that's going to be the jet energy going to the hand. So you can very easily just jet energy with this Giratina back into the active. And Abyss Seeking, you're in 5 in the lost zone already.
I mean, given how horrendous Benjamin's start has been, and let's be clear, it has been horrendous. You got 5 cards in the lost zone, you got Giratina with some energy on.
Yeah. And, and there's a very easy Abyss Seeking there, or at least for one of the cards. You get rid of the Battle VIP pass, and then get rid of a Giratina V-Star, taking that Water Energy and a Boss's Orders. Now, what does James draw here? Is there any kind of bailout? Oh, okay, there's the Curlier, there's the Mirage Step. Okay. Yeah.
As far as bailouts go, that's a pretty good bailout.
Yeah, so with that, James can, of course, get the other Refinement Curliers out of the deck, and now he's you've gone from a horrendous setup to a very, very solid one.
Yeah, now this is a turn where Benjamin really wants to start putting on pressure. A KO with Cramorant this turn while starting to build up some Giratina V. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You do not want James to go on the aggressive here and start taking the first prizes. There are 8 minutes left. You do not want the Gardevoir deck to take the first couple of prizes. That is not a game you're winning.
No, you really don't want that. Chorus experiment once again, so of course was able to find one off of the last chorus. But what does he find here? Oh, there's the Cramorant. There's a Sableye. Oh, so slightly good choices there. Yeah, 1 Giratina V can go. That's fine. You already have a Giratina V-Star there. I guess it has to be the Escape Rope gone. Yeah, it has. The other 3 are too important.
Kind of love this.
Yeah, you need the V-Star, and then your Sableye and Cramorant are one of. So yeah, there's definitely. I think maybe a surprisingly easy choice there for the chorus experiment.
And you're not far away from having Sableye actually on board working here, which is awesome. We've got 8 cards in the lost zone here. So, you know, next turn, Sableye is going to absolutely be in play. And this turn, you can get a KO with the Cramorant. This is what you needed. I'd love to see a second Giratina V, but we're seeing a Nest Ball being played. I might get my wish.
And, okay, you know what's really, really brutal? because of the prizing, it doesn't work out. Benjamin was very close to a Moonlight Shuriken this turn. There's a water in hand, and there's 2 Mirage Gates. But I think there's a water prize, and I think there's a Radiant Greninja prize. So, like, so close to an absolutely insane play there. But unfortunately, again, because of prizing, not quite working out.
But we Mirage Gate onto the Giratina. And this is everything I wanted this turn, assuming we end with Cramorant KO. You've got 2 Giratina down, you've got 2 energy on one, you've got an energy on the other. Okay, there's more energy coming down. I kind of love this. This is Benjamin saying, oh, hang on a second, time is running out. I want to make sure that I can fire off big attacks with big Pokemon. I want to be ahead. And it isn't about winning the game. This is about being ahead when time runs out.
Yeah, it is. And again, it really is a shame about the pricing that. Actually, they checked again. There was a Water Energy in deck, so it was literally just the Greninja prize that prevented this. But next best case scenario, yeah, like you mentioned, build up your big attackers, make sure you can keep taking prizes, including with this Cramorant, going to put in some very good pressure early on.
And a Giratina V-Star, which we did not see until right at the end of the game last time. And look, we started off with horrendous starts from both players. Both players have had good starts now. James was able to get the Mirage Step to get all his Curlier out, and then Benjamin went and got a Giratina V-Star with 3 energy, a Giratina V with 2 energy, and a KO with the Cramorant. That'll do.
Yeah, that will very, very much do. And now, going over to James's side, as we do see, there's going to be a lot of refinements here happening, a lot of draws. James is going to be very happy about that. You've got that Psychic Energy in the discard off the first one, draws another one, so can refinement again to set up the discard pile even more. And now it's going to be a matter of Gardevoir going more aggressive than perhaps it usually does. If James can find a Gardevoir EX, a Shining Arcana Gardevoir, maybe a Boss's Orders, take a very aggressive early KO, that's how James gets back into this game.
So we do see a Gardevoir EX in the active and a Collapsed Stadium, which doesn't do much now, but it does at least limit Benjamin.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say it doesn't do much. It counts as the path to the peak.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Carrying Path to the Peak's usually a good thing.
Yes, so going to be very important for James to piece this together. And still has one more refinement use left as well. Could find a rare candy maybe to evolve that Roltz, just for good measure. There's actually a lot James can do here, but it's just a matter of what he finds off these refinements. Going to discard a level ball off of that next one. 2 more cards drawn. There's another Gardevoir EX, but that's not the one you want. You want the Shining Arcana Gardevoir here.
Yeah, and one of the great things about being able to use your Mirage Step to get your Curlier out is that you can then rare candy routes into Gardevoir, and actually is it kind of having your cake and eating it too. No, I've got cake on the brain today.
You really do, don't you?
I love that cake. There's so much cake backstage.
And again, to be fair, it is really good.
Really good cake. And it means that you can have your Gardevoir, but also still have your Curlier to use refinement and be drawing a bunch of cards. And oh look, it's Cresselia doing Cresselia things. I think that might get KO'd now.
Yeah, Comfey going down, the Cresselia doing Cresselia things, as you just mentioned, one of the most solid attackers against Lost Zone archetypes. Now back over to Benjamin, what can he pull off in return? There is 8 cards in the Lost Zone already, so we're not that far off from Star Requiem and Lost Mine territory. And I tell you what, there is a Boss's Orders in Benjamin's hand.
I mean, going after that. Look, in a lot of games, I go, leave the EX for now, it'll be fine. In this matchup, I'm like, EX, EX, EX. Get it up, bring it active, get the instant KO, go up by 2 prizes, and basically said to James, look, maybe you have a new Gardevoir EX, but we have not got much time. You need it now, because not only am I up 2 prizes, you can't be accelerating energy. And if you can get a path as well.
And it goes back to what we were saying about like sort of opportunities to do it as well, because in this exact instance, James has got a bunch of energy spread around. It's not like there's a big attack of a bunch of energy on it taking 1-hit KOs. So now is a good opportunity to take this KO whilst it's in a position where you're not forced into as much of a catch-22.
Love it. And we do have an energy on the Cramorant, so looks like Cramorant will not be attacking. It is getting ready to get out of dodge. It's only got a retreat cost of 1. And, you know, we've already got the energy. We've already got the Boss's Orders in hand.
Going to be very important to find a Chorus Experiment here. There it is. Oh, no, but then if you do that, you can't boss.
Yeah, I would recommend not bossing. Oh, you've not got enough cards in the Lost Zone.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, there's not enough phase out to pull off the Star Requiem this turn. So, okay, I guess you're kind of consigned to doing something else in that case.
That's a little bit. And actually, Sableye is a Cresselia target.
Oh, yeah. So maybe, do you think maybe we're just going to see, same again? Maybe it's just going to be...
we're going to see a Sableye attack.
Yeah, but it's going to be, say, like, attack, everything on the active KO the Cresselia.
Quite possibly, yeah. Essentially, two Battle VIP paths of a chorus is beautiful. And this means you've got 10 cards in the Lost Zone, and you're not going to be using boss's orders, but you can use Sableye, and then next turn, assuming no INO.
Dare I say it, easy peasy, chorus squeezy. No.
Just making me think of a lemon cake backstage.
But maybe that was the point.
Well, maybe. We now have, it looks like we could actually have, no, was it a manual attachment onto the Sableye?
No, it was a Mirage Gate, wasn't it?
That's what I thought. So I think we still got a manual attachment we could use this turn.
Yeah, there was definitely Mirage Gate played this turn.
That's what I mean. So I'm thinking, it looks like Benjamin is actually eyeing up getting free energy on both the Giratina V-Star. This is what I wanted. I wanted Path to the Peak from Benjamin, because if you can't KO the Gardevoir EX, at least make it way more awkward to use.
Yeah, and we have, to be fair, we have our market there at the top, right, for energy.
We do.
Yeah, so...
That's what I looked at, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. But there it is. Once again, Sableye, Lost Mine, everything on red, or I guess purple in this instance, all on the active, KOing the Cresselia.
I mean, Cresselia's super annoying.
Yeah.
We've seen that 3 games in a row now. Get it off the board, drop those 12 damage counters, and then move on. So, Benjamin is, I believe, up by a prize now?
Yes, I believe so. So we're just going to get that updated, of course, in a little bit. But there are 2 prizes taken for Benjamin, and James has a few options to respond here. I mean, let's not get it twisted. James has a very good setup still. There's 2 Curlies still going. There's another Ralts. The Gardevoir EX is still there. But once again, James is in the position where he needs to find a path to the peak out. And let's be honest here, James does play the outs to it. But these Gardevoir...
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for that interruption. So that is now time on the round. Yes.
Confirmed time has been called.
Yes. So, okay. This is now absolute crunch time, and this is where the prizes are really going to matter. And yeah, going back to what I was saying before, I mean, actually, the discussion at point, I guess, is still the same. James, if he wants to start taking prizes to try and even things out, needs to find outs to path to the peak. And these more modern Gardevoir lists, they do play outs to path, but not as many as they did before necessarily. Yeah,
this is getting super awkward. James is turn 0. So James has this turn and 1 more. Benjamin has 2 turns and is up by a prize. And we know that one of those 2 turns of Benjamin is going to be Boss, Star Requiem. Boom, 2 prizes.
Yeah, right. I think it's very important, Ross, before we get carried away, let's do a quick recap of the time rules and Top Cut, because it does work differently to the Swiss round.
Please do.
We are here in Game 3. What that means is that right now, time has been called during James's turn, so he is turn 0 of time. There's going to be 3 extra turns, so 1 for Benjamin, 1 more for James, and then 1 more for Benjamin. After that, whoever has the lead on prize cards wins. Whoever has the least prize cards remaining. If they're both equal on prizes, it is as simple as next prize wins.
I think technically it's the next person to have a prize advantage, because there are cards that add prizes, etc. Just being super pedantic.
I think it's been a long time since Palkia Dialga Legend was a thing. Where's the sepia filter?
But yes, you're absolutely right. It's essentially next prize wins. But Benjamin has got 2 turns after this. So essentially, they've got 2 turns each, including the turn James is currently on. Benjamin is up by a prize and has a really easy 2 prize KO next turn. And here's the thing. Players now don't play to win the game. Players play to be ahead on prizes when time runs out, when those extra turns are done. So whereas you may save something like a Star Requiem later on in a regular game, here, Benjamin's just like, I got 2 prizes, what can you do? Go.
Yeah, it is all about, it's racing taken to, like, its most extreme in that sort of sense. You just want to take prizes as quickly as you can, regardless of whether it sacrifices your long-term game plan, because there is no long-term game plan anymore. Long-term does not matter. You need prizes, and you need them fast.
Yeah, that is where you're going. And look, James needs to start taking 2 prize KOs. The problem is, Benjamin has evolved both of his Giratina. They got 280 HP. They can be KO'd, but it is hard. And Benjamin keeps getting Path to the Peak in play. Now, Reversal Energy is turned on at this stage.
It is.
Because Benjamin is ahead on prizes.
And that definitely helps things. But what doesn't help things is playing an Iono.
That's not good.
No, that is not what James wanted to see in this instance.
But there is Counter Catcher.
Oh, there is, okay.
There's 2 in James's deck.
So it's going to be very important for James to find now then.
Counter Catcher and an out to Path to the Peak is what we're really looking for here, because you want to KO a Giratina. You do not want to take a 1 prize, and because if you take 1 prize, Benjamin then takes 2, and the best case scenario is you even it up and Benjamin gets another turn.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't quite see what was drawn there off that Shining Arcana, but It's was there a counter catcher? No, there's a lost vacuum. It's like
Part of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's so that is the path out. Yeah, you're right. So that is still a important find to have. But is there a counter catcher? I don't recall seeing one. Oh, but now you can Radiant Greninja to find it, maybe.
What we got? 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 Reversal energy, and look, he's put his head in his hands. He hasn't slapped. Oh, it's an ultra ball.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell from James' body language as well, right? He knows how important finding a counter catcher was there. Head in the hands a little bit, knowing that there was a very, very big miss.
And this really, really puts Benjamin in a phenomenal position because James takes a KO, evens it up on prizes. Benjamin, now there was an INO play, so Benjamin will need a boss's orders.
Oh, that is true.
But if Benjamin can get a KO on Gardevoir, he can then just be like, look, the best you can do is even up on prizes. I'm guns to get a KO with my other Giratina next turn. And even if you don't, you take a prize, James can at best go up by 1 prize, and then Benji's got another turn to get boss and take 2.
Yeah, exactly. So James finding another shiny Arcana Gardevoir off the Ultra Ball. This is the last chance saloon now to find this out. We need to find a counter catcher this turn. It is absolutely crucial.
If you don't get a counter catcher this turn, it makes the prize map so awkward. And if don't get it, we get a KO on the Sableye. Oh. We are even on prizes, but Benjamin has 2 turns remaining. James only has 1. A boss here would be devastating.
Yeah, and you can tell that James recognizes the gravity of the situation here. Sure, they're even on prizes again, but he knows that he is not in the driver's seat and that Benjamin is in full control here. No boss's orders, okay, to be fair, just a chorus experiment, but it's like you said, Benjamin is still in a great position to win here.
And there was a bit of a giveaway. Oh, there is a poker gear. I like that poker gear.
Oh, yes. And a boss's orders for good measure as well.
Well, I mean, do you want a boss or do you want a poker gear that might find you a boss?
But, I mean, if it's off the course of the experiment...
You want the boss.
Yeah.
You definitely want the boss.
Well, I mean, the actual answer is you want both, right? You want as many outs to boss as possible because there's a good chance that your hand just gets shuffled away again.
And that is what James is going to be looking for. Now here, it doesn't really matter because, like I said, you get a prize here. And essentially, when the free energy Giratina went to the active, that was a giveaway. Benjamin didn't have boss, or else the 2 energy Giratina would have gone active for Star Requiem. Love this play because now it means only 1 energy needed to do that attack again with Giratina V-Star next turn.
And the path to the peak coming down as well, so James needs to find yet another out. Things are looking amazing for Benjamin right now.
If James takes a prize, Benji takes a single prize to win the game. If James takes 2 prizes, then Benjamin can either take 1 prize, and then we're into proper sudden death, or KO the Gardevoir, and that is the win. The best case scenario here, and I'm reaching, all right?
Okay.
I understand this. KO a Giratina V-Star while taking your Gardevoir off the field, forcing Benjamin to even up on prizes so you get the first turn of proper sudden death.
And that is possible because I do believe we did see James draw that Professor Tourist scenario earlier. So that is a play within reach.
It's asking a lot. You don't even have the Brainwave Gardevoir yet.
No, you don't.
Or the Zacian, but you can't really play Zacian because that gives up 2 prizes. So you kind of need your Brainwave, your Gardevoir. Reversal energy becomes really big, and that is on because Benjamin is ahead on prizes. Then you need an out to path to the peak as well, so you can accelerate enough energy to get the KO. Then you need Turo to take your Gardevoir off the field, or just 2 basics and a collapsed stadium.
And then also, I think James has played his collapse already.
Oh, he might have done, actually. He's only playing 1.
And that's huge because if you played a Turo, you can't Iono. You can't play 2 sports in 1 turn.
But you don't need to Iono. If you can take the Gardevoir off the field, what you're basically trying to do is leave the game even at 2 prizes remaining, and you get the first turn of actual sudden death.
Yeah, because then you have the first chance to take a prize and actually make it. And this is absolutely what James is going to be trying to go for here. He is a phenomenal player. He's made top 4 at Worlds before. He knows how to play with his back against the wall. He's going to try his absolute hardest to pull off this insane counter play here. But it's all going to be down to him.
It's asking a lot.
It is.
Like, I've laid out the route. There is a route. It's just really awkward.
Very, very awkward. That Shiny Arcana found a... Wait, James concedes!
It looks like a concession from James. Benji is ahead on prizes with the Giratina out, and that means that Benji is going to be heading into the top 4. It was too much for James to get there. There was a potential, but you needed so much to make it work. It was never going to work, and Benjamin Pham is moving on to top 4. One of our free Gardevoir done.
What a series. That is... Honestly, sometimes some casters, and including myself, say this a lot. I think that's one of the best series that we've ever casted over. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, that was a good, like, what, hour and 25 minutes? Something like that.
Yeah,
Pokémon. That was a long game with a lot happening, a lot of back and forth, a lot of plays, a lot of potential plays. Not an easy one for us to be following for that length of time. But Benjamin Pham really earning his place in that top 4 with that phenomenal victory. I don't have any updates on the other top 4 games at the moment. Hopefully we'll be able to get them before too long, but we know one of our players in top 4, it is Benjamin, and we know that of those 3 Gardevoir that made it into Top Cup, one